we're going to start with the roll call, correct?
Everybody ready? 3, 2, 1.
Thank you, everybody. This is President Mark Kukler, and at this time, I would ask the clerk Burns to call the roll.
Certainly. Trustee Augustine.
Here.
Trustee Gale.
Here.
Trustee Holder.
Here.
Trustee Kotinik.
Here.
Trustee McCarty.
Here.
President Kukler.
Here. Trustees, thank you for attending the meeting, and the meeting is being conducted telephonically as a result of Governor Pritzker's emergency COVID-19 actions to ease the standards for municipal open meetings as a result of these unusual and difficult circumstances. The audio of the meeting is being broadcast live on cable television and Facebook, and will also be posted to the village website. Also in attendance tonight are Village Attorney Mark Berklin, Village Manager Andre Peterson, Public Works Director Brian Gillingham, Community Development Director Charity Jones, and Finance Director Lou Ciparoni. Police Chief Kirk Bluter and Fire Chief Vavra are also in attendance. I would ask anybody that's going to speak tonight to state their name before speaking so that everyone knows who's speaking. And as we've been reminded, please mute your phone when you're not going to speak to help with the sound quality. At this time, I would ask for a motion to adopt the supplemental rule concerning public comments during virtual meetings. As
So
people
moved.
know, thank you. Is there a second? And who moved that?
That's Bill Holder.
Thanks, Trustee Holder. And is there a second?
McCarty will second.
Thank you. We need a roll call vote on that.
Yes, this is Clerk Burns. And just a point of information from me, if Attorney Berklin is available. Do we need to read the resolution into the record?
No, it's been posted and everyone has a copy of it. So there is no need, unless the president wishes it, to read the resolution.
Thank you.
Not unless Clerk Burns, you want to read it, you can, and otherwise we can. It was brought up at last meeting also.
No, it was just a point of information for me. Thank you. Trustee McCarty.
Aye.
Trustee Kotinik.
Aye.
Trustee Gale.
Aye.
Trustee Augustine.
Aye.
Trustee Holder.
Aye.
And the motion passing unanimously, we will continue telephonically. Next, I would like to bring everyone's attention that April 24th, 2020 is Arbor Day. 2019 marked the 37th consecutive year of the village being named a Tree City, USA. I'm going to ask Clerk Burns to read the proclamation for Arbor Day into the record at this time.
Yes. Proclamation, Arbor Day in LaGrange. Whereas the village of LaGrange is characterized by its stately and tree-lined streets, and whereas the village makes a continual effort to preserve the aesthetic beauty and environmental benefit by appropriate urban forestry planning and reforestation, and whereas the forestry and tree planting program will continue to be integral parts of the services of the village of LaGrange provides to its residents, businesses, and schools, and whereas the village of LaGrange recognizes the interest in and desire for a healthy urban forest from the entire community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the village of LaGrange does support and celebrates Friday, April 24th, 2020 as Arbor Day, and will celebrate Arbor Day with a tree planting ceremony in the fall. And therefore, Be it further resolved that Arbor Day shall be marked with an Arbor Day tree planting ceremony in the fall at Cossett Avenue School in recognition of the students' effort to improve our urban forest. That's the conclusion of the proclamation.
At this time, I would ask that Clerk Burns ask for a voice vote.
Certainly.
So we need a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'd like to
I
move.
need a motion
I'd like
in a
to move.
second.
I'd like to move. This is McCarty. I'd like to move we approve the resolution as presented. And Holder seconds.
And is there any comments or questions on it? Hearing none, Clerk Burns, if you could ask for a voice vote.
Yes, trustees, all in favor, please so indicate.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Clerk Burns, and thank you, trustees. I would like to just add that Cossett School was chosen. The tradition in the village is to choose a school, and we just rotate through the village, and each grade school is selected. This was Cossett's turn. Normally, we would plant the tree on Arbor Day, but as the proclamation indicated, due to social distancing and shelter in place, we are going to do that in the fall. So thank you to everybody. Next, I would like to appoint Shawana McGee as a village trustee. As I indicated in prior meetings, I've solicited names and nominations for the open position of village trustee. I spoke with several candidates, all that were very qualified, but I believed that at this time, Shawana McGee was the best choice for the village of LaGrange. She's been very active and an invaluable member of our community. She's a third-generation resident. Her enthusiasm and dedication to serving the public will be beneficial to all the residents of LaGrange. I recommend her appointment be approved and ask for a motion and second on her appointment.
Trustee Augustine, I motion to approve.
And Holder seconds.
Thank you, Trustee Augustine and Trustee Holder. At this time, I'd ask Clerk Burns to call for a voice vote.
Trustees, if you'd indicate your approval by letting us know, aye or nay. All in favor?
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you, trustees. I know that Trustee McGee will hit the ground running. She will be a terrific addition immediately. The way that she's going to be sworn in is Clerk Burns is going to do a virtual swearing in with her so that she's sworn in prior to the next meeting. Will then be joining us at the next meeting, which will probably again be held telephonically. Once the shelter in place is lifted and we're back meeting at the Village Hall, then we will have another ceremony where she can be sworn in for the cameras as well as her family and be honored appropriately. So thank you very much. Moving on, we need by law to have a public hearing of our 2020 to 2021 operating capital improvements budget. And this needs to be done at a public hearing. The public hearing portion of this is a conclusion of a 6-month-long budget development process. This process began back in November of 2019 with a pre-budget development workshop that included pension funding and consideration of preliminary property tax levy, the adoption of the final 2019 property tax levy in December, a workshop to discuss capital projects in January and a workshop to discuss operating budgets on March 7th of 2020, all of which was before the COVID-19 pandemic. Since then, the pandemic has had a growing impact on national, state, and local economies. As a result, it's anticipated that the village revenues will be negatively impacted by the outbreak. At this time, the overall impact and changing economic considerations or economic conditions resulting from the COVID-19 remain unknown. As there continues to be uncertainty about the duration and impact of the pandemic on the local economy, major changes to the proposed operating budget discussed at the budget workshop on March 7th are not recommended at this time. So we're not recommending any changes because we just don't know the extent of the impact that the pandemic will cause. The budget is not being considered this evening, but will be up to be considered for adoption at the April 27th meeting. The notice of the public hearing has been posted and published according to state statute. Copies of the proposed budget document have been available for inspection at the Village Hall, were available at the public library when it was open, and they've been posted on the village website since late February. And again, the village budget is always a living document and is always subject to change, especially as I've indicated this year. Director Cipriani, I'd ask you at this time to provide an overview of the proposed budget and answer any questions that the trustees may have.
Thank you, President Kukler. Tonight, the village is presenting a $32 million operating and capital improvements budget, which includes 12 separate funds that coordinate the village's financial plan. While the entire budget is carefully evaluated on an annual basis, additional effort is focused on personnel, which represents approximately 85% of the general fund operating budget, as well as capital improvements, which remain a strategic priority for the village board. The various funds and departmental budgets were discussed in detail at the budget workshop, which was held back on March 7th. The general fund budget does reflect an $11,000 surplus at the end of fiscal year 2021, with projected reserves of approximately 59% of annual operating expenditures. As President Kukler mentioned, the overall impact and changing economic conditions resulting from the COVID-19 virus remain unknown, and there continues to be a great deal of uncertainty about the duration and impact of the pandemic on the local economy. Going forward, as more information is received regarding the financial impact from the virus, the village board does have the ability to make adjustments to the budget as deemed necessary. As far as the fiscal year 2021 budget, after receiving feedback from the village board, we have incorporated the following changes. First is a reduction in health insurance expenditures in all operating departments, resulting from the final premium renewal of 1.1%, while 2.9% was originally estimated. And second is the postponement of the parking fine increase, which was reflected in the preliminary budget, as well as the postponement of increases in commuter and residential parking decals. Both increases have been delayed due to the financial impact of the COVID-19 virus on village residents. Although we are not recommending any major changes to the fiscal 2021 budget at this time, we have identified preliminary short and long-term plans to reduce expenditures as may be necessary in order to offset the financial impact resulting from the COVID-19 virus while maintaining current operations and staffing levels. In the interim, the village has sufficient reserves to maintain essential public health and public safety services during these challenging times. That concludes my remarks, unless there are any questions from the village trustees. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I would ask that Public Works Director Ryan Gillingham provide an overview of the upcoming capital projects currently planned.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, President Kukler and Village Board, for the opportunity to provide a summary of the capital projects for fiscal year 2021. So major projects that we're working on this year include the neighborhood street resurfacing program, the engineering for Edgewood Avenue, the 50th Street Storm Sewer Project, and the Streetscape Improvement Project. More specifically, the streets included in the neighborhood street resurfacing program are in the hospital area, as they are in poor condition and do not require corresponding water main replacement. We are in the process of completing the engineering plans right now, and we'll be going out to bid for this project in the next few months. For the Edgewood Avenue project, the consultant has been given direction to proceed with design based on feedback that we received from the village board and residents. We anticipate the engineering work to be completed this year, and we'll continue to seek out grants for the construction of the roadway. We continue to make progress on all the projects identified and discussed as part of the capital improvement program, including the 50th Street Storm Sewer Project and the Streetscape Improvement Project. And that concludes my report.
Trustees, any questions for Ryan? Hearing none. Andre, has there been any public comments submitted?
No public comments were received, Mr. President, for the public hearing.
Thank you. With no further comments, the village budget public hearing is closed. Again, the village budget will be taken up for a vote on Monday, April 27th, 2020. We assume that this will also be done telephonically. At this time, I'm going to go back to the President's report, and I have several thank yous or shout outs to make. And first, I'd like to thank the residents for so closely following the governor's shelter-in-place order. I know it's hard. I know it's frustrating, but I do appreciate it, and the efforts have paid off with the flattening of the curve. I'd also like to thank the residents for their continued support and commitment to both the village government as well as our community by supporting our businesses, social service agencies, medical professionals, first responders, and all the other people that are working so hard. I want to thank the workers at the local retailers that are deemed essential and the workers that are fostering the curbside delivery. I want to recognize and make sure that the LaGrange business owners know how terribly we as a board feel. We understand that they're struggling. This COVID-19 virus has been horrendous and impacted every business. We know it's frustrating and stressful. I want to thank the village staff. Every department remains fully staffed and everyone is doing great work. Our police, fire, and public works departments are seen daily by the community. And I know that their hard work and professionalism brings comfort to the residents. The village hall staff has also been working tirelessly. Charity Jones in the community development department has been assisting with loan and grant applications for both the village and the businesses in the village. She's been working with the LGBA and also has been advocating for our businesses in Springfield. Andre and Lou have been continuing to work hard on the budget. They're looking for all possible revenues, and they're continuing to see if there's any grants available. I appreciate all of your hard work and efforts. I know that it's tough, but we do appreciate it. At this time, I would like to ask Trustee Holder if he can make any comments about how people are doing at the hospital.
Yeah, thank you, President Kukler. I was in communication as you guys, as Andre and Chief Favre were earlier today as well. That's a daily thing. For those of you that don't know, they have a daily call with Mike Merle, the CEO of LaGrange Hinsdale. One of the things that has been going on is the community support has just continued to be incredible. and not only the meal train, which has been fantastic, and please keep it up. There's a link for that, and it's been really awesome. But also, I mean, community efforts like there was a 44-car train that circled the hospital on, I think that was Friday evening, honking and flashing lights and holding up signs of support. I mean, it was coordinated with the hospital staff so they could tell people to look outside and not just think it was a lot of noise. And it made a huge difference. It really did. So please, keep up your support for these folks because the pandemic continues. I mean, this past week, the city of Chicago and the weekend, the city of Chicago and most of Chicagoland has seen continual spikes in confirmed cases. And as this goes on, we use more and more and more personal protective equipment, those supplies are getting leaner and leaner. In fact, those are some of the things that if you want to donate through the LaGrange Foundation, some of the things that the hospital needs with regard to gloves and N95 masks, protective gear, echo machines, patient monitors, and bronchoscopes. No vents. But these things are in use more than, of course, were anticipated. Plus, the hospital is also providing personal protective equipment to community EMS groups because they're going through their stuff much faster than anybody anticipated. And, these supplies are in short supply, so folks can't exactly reorder them. You've all read about those efforts. As far as Amita LaGrange goes, testing capabilities and locations continue to evolve. The capabilities in the hospital and also in the governmental agencies, both nationally as well as locally, continue to evolve. And we continue to emphasize that although it looks like it is starting to slow the rate of growth, there is still growth. And that's why we continue to do and emphasize that the Illinois Department of Public Health and all the other folks that you've seen on a national and local level continue to emphasize the need for residents and businesses to please stay home, to wear a mask when in public, and of course wash your hands for 30 seconds to continue to stop the spread. When you talk about wearing a mask in public, I've seen a lot of folks not necessarily doing that. I've seen most people doing it, but think about it. Our houses are 12 feet apart here in LaGrange, and if I sneeze, that's how far fluid will come from my body. Don't mean to gross anybody out, but it just means that protect yourself as well as your loved ones. Even though you're outdoors, wear that mask, work together. You don't know if you have it and you want to protect others, and you don't know if they have it and you need to protect yourself. The only way we can do this is to work together and to continue to do so. The hospital leadership continues to be in daily communication with the village managers as well as the fire chiefs, and we'll continue to work together to do this. It is nowhere near over. Even though the weather's starting to get nicer, it is nowhere near over, and I hope everybody will continue their diligence. That's about it.
Thank you, Trustee Holder. I appreciate it. And just to emphasize some of the COVID-19 matters, as everyone knows, Governor Pritzker signed a 30-day extension where he extended the stay-at-home and school closure through the end of the day of Thursday, April 30th. We're not sure if that's going to be extended. That has not been communicated yet. But currently, the stay-at-home order means that residents must stay in their homes unless necessary to leave for an essential service, supplies, and work, or if your employer provides essential services. Essential services and supplies include things like healthcare, groceries, medicine, medical supplies, hardware and home maintenance supplies, cleaning supplies, as well as banking. Please wash your hands as Trustee Holder said. And if you must leave the home, please be sure to use appropriate social distancing measures and wear a mask at all times. We need everyone to be responsible and to do their part to follow the stay-at-home order. In addition, as Trustee Holder indicated, the village is working closely with the local hospitals, and the first responders are depending on all the residents to comply with the governor's order. The best way for the residents to demonstrate our care and concern for others during this crisis is to keep distance, and by doing so, keep safe. The village has adjusted some of its operations in response to the COVID-19 public health emergency. However, LaGrange's police, fire, and 911, water and sewer maintenance, water plant operations, refuse service, and other critical services are continuing normally. In addition, the village website is updated regularly with new information on connecting the village, our business community, and how to help during this crisis. The village also offers online or via telephone or email if any resident needs to contact them. The restaurants have been great with delivery and curbside carryout service, and the residents have been great supporting them. It's all appreciated. The Illinois Department of Public Health has announced a new text message program allowing people to text COVID, that's COVID, to 312-500-3836 in order to register to receive current information and updates about the COVID-19 virus. The village will continue to provide updated information on our website, social media, and announcements as it becomes available. We are bound together by our love of LaGrange and the strong sense of community. Together, we will get through this. So I appreciate everyone's patience, understanding, and hard work, and thank you. I now want to address a very important item, and that's the census. Participation to date has not been as great as we would have hoped. We do need every resident to comply with the census requirements. I need to stress that it's so important that each LaGrange resident be counted. I want to thank the dozen of community partners in LaGrange that are helping us reach everyone. The village's website has census information, including the importance of each child being counted and activities that you can do with your child as you fill out the census. The COVID-19 crisis will end, but an accurate census count will determine funding and representation for the next 10 years. The census is only 10 questions and takes less than 10 minutes to complete. Now is the time. Please fill out your census questions online, over the phone, or by mail. And by now, I mean tonight. If we can get this done, that would be fantastic. Moving on, Pet Parade. Governor Pritzker has advised organizers of summer events to think seriously about canceling large events and festivals until the COVID-19 vaccine is ready. That will not happen in time for LaGrange's Pet Parade. So to ensure public health and safety, the Pet Parade Committee has decided to hold a virtual Pet Parade instead of the traditional parade format on the same day and time. That's May 30th at 9:30 a.m. And as many people know, this is the 74th anniversary of the Pet Parade. The LaGrange Business Association Carnival, which is held in conjunction with the Pet Parade, is also going to be postponed. To be part of the virtual Pet Parade, although the 74th Pet Parade will be the first virtual Pet Parade, residents are invited to submit creative 10-second video clips of you and your family with your pets using a form available at www.lagrangepetparade.org. The best 100 clips will be added to the video, along with videos of your favorite acts and other surprises. So the Pet Parade Committee is doing everything they can to make the 74th Pet Parade special. I appreciate their efforts in that regard. At this time, I would ask if the village manager has a report or to tell me if I missed anything in my report.
No, Mr. President, thank you very much. I just have two quick items. The first is related to the refuse program continuation. On March 9th, the village board approved a 3-month extension of the village's current refuse contract with Republic Services until July 31st, 2020. Service with Republic Services will continue until that time in the same manner. Information and details regarding the refuse program effective August 1st, 2020 will be forthcoming. And information regarding the village's refuse program is available on our website, www.villageoflagrange.com, or by calling 708-579-2300. The second item is the Ashland Avenue Railroad Crossing project. The BNSF Railroad has announced that they plan to reconstruct the Ashland Avenue Railroad crossing beginning April 24th to May 1st. The crossing will be completely closed during the work, and traffic will be detoured to Catherine Avenue to the west or LaGrange Road to the east. And for more information regarding this project, please visit the village's website. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Andre, and I'm sure anybody who's crossed over the railroad tracks at Ashland will agree that the crossing definitely needs to be replaced. At this time, I would ask Clerk Burns to read the items on the consent agenda.
Certainly. Matters on the consent agenda will be considered by a single motion and vote because they have already been considered fully by the board at a previous meeting or have been determined to be of routine nature. Any member of the Board of Trustees may request that an item be moved from the consent agenda to current business for separate consideration. Item A, ordinance establishing special service area, SSA, number 10, private improvements, MI Homes, Mason Point subdivision. Item B, minutes of the Village of LaGrange Board of Trustees special meeting, Monday, March 23rd, 2020. Item C, consolidated voucher 200413.
Thank you, Clerk Burns. Manager Peterson, have there been any public comments submitted regarding any matters on the consent portion of the agenda?
No public comments were received, Mr. President.
And were there any comments regarding any other matters on the agenda?
No, Mr. President.
And Holder moves that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second, Trustee Kotinik.
Was that Trustee Holder that moved?
Yes.
Thank you, Trustee Holder and Trustee Kotinik. I appreciate it. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda?
This is Trustee Augustine. Mr. President, I just wanted to say, as I previously have stated, I recuse myself from voting items on the voucher related to the village prosecutor.
Thank you, Trustee Augustine. Is there any other comments on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I would ask Clerk Burns to call the roll.
Certainly. Trustee Gale.
Aye.
Trustee Augustine.
Aye.
Trustee McCarty.
Aye.
Trustee Kotinik.
Aye.
Trustee Holder.
Aye.
The motion passing unanimously, the consent agenda will be accepted. I note that there is no current business this evening. Are there any trustee comments? Trustee Gale.
Thank you, President Kukler. This is, as you said, this is Trustee Gale speaking. I just wanted to reiterate a lot of what I had already heard tonight, and that I wanted to state as well, just to encourage everyone to stick with all of the safety precautions that we're taking with respect to COVID-19. Maintain that social distancing, It's, the weather's getting warmer. It's getting tougher. You see your neighbor and you think, oh, we'll just talk. And then another neighbor will come over, and it's important. Keep that distance. It's important to continue to wear masks out in public, as Trustee Holder had said. It's not just for yourself; it's for others. Keep washing your hands, taking good care of yourself, and I think more importantly, unless you're in an essential business or you are an employee of an essential business, stay home. Where the numbers are still going up. We're working to fight this thing, and so just want to encourage everybody to keep it up. Thank you, President Kugler.
Thank you, Trustee Gale. Very well put. Great suggestions and instructions. Any other trustees' comments? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved by Holder.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
And Holder seconds.
Okay, we have the motion by Trustee Kotinik and seconded by Trustee Holder. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes at 8:07, and we will be adjourned. Again, we will be meeting in 2 weeks. I appreciate everyone's efforts in this regard. And the Village Hall does remain open for residents if anything's necessary. Thank you.
Be well, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.